Hey guys, this is Ryan, and welcome to the latest episode on my YouTube channel, Squatch Ranger. At the moment, I am on my way to El Reno. I'm going to meet up with the North Canadian River Project, the NCRP, and we're going to do some investigating this evening and hiking and just have some fellowship with some other fellow Bigfoot believers and investigators. Should be a lot of fun. It's called Rendezvous at the River. So stay tuned and I will show you some more clips from the trip.
In 2002, he was allowed to view what appeared to be a massive upright creature, captured by a security camera on Native American tribal land.
Below the mercury light was a dumpster where there was food that had been thrown out. It crossed this area 60, 70 feet, and maybe it wasn't more than 6 or 8 steps. The mercury vapor light was about 10 feet tall, and the creature ducked its head when it went under the light.
While Roberts was allowed to view the tape, the tribe now claims to have destroyed it.
But I do remember there was like 3 of them, and they were sober, and it was a cold, foggy night. The fog rises off of the river and heads this way, and this whole valley is just full of fog some nights. If you've ever driven through this part of the country, it's pretty cool. And these guys were either on their way or, like I said, coming back, and had pulled in this little access road here. The gate wasn't there then. They pulled in and pulled back to that area to get out, relieve themselves, or what have you, or take a look at the stables. They hadn't seen, I guess they were built some new parts of it or something, and they wanted to look at it. They were horsemen, like Joe, and they were just out kind of standing there talking. Somewhere there's like a mercury type light that will light that area up, or there was, and through the mist and the fog, one of them sees something large and about 5 foot taller than the horses walking among the horses. So he got the other guy's attention. They started watching this thing, and it was going up and petting the horses and kind of hiding behind the horses while it was watching them. And so they stood there with their mouths open, according to the story, and it wasn't long until another one came up. And this one was a little shorter, a little squatter in stature, and they presumed that to be the female. And it came up and kind of did the same thing with the horses, put its hand up on one of them and was standing next to the male, and the male never took its eyes off of them, is the way it goes. What is this we're looking at that's 8, 9 foot tall with a 7 foot bride? And pretty soon here comes about a 3.5, 4 foot little one out from underneath the stable fence over there, and he crawls through the gate part and walks up, and without even taking his head away from these guys, this was according to them, without even taking his head off of him, they see this thing bend down, barely bend down, just bend down like that, and its arms were so long, he just snatched that little one up and set him up on one of the horses. And that's when I guess they decided to leave, and when they started getting in their vehicle and all that, they all scampered off. Whether it was on all 4s or bipedal, I don't know, but that's how the story goes. Anyway, yeah.
well, we were standing right here, as a matter of fact, right where I'm parked, and right behind that deal, we heard a, and he goes, I'm not going. I said, come on. And I went around this way, and he went around that way, flashlights. There was nothing there, but it was obviously something right there.
In 1970, a chicken coop where we're getting ready to film, or you're getting ready to film, was broken into. All the chickens were killed in it, and the door of the chicken coop was literally pulled off, the hinges. They called the sheriff, they called the police, Canadian County Sheriff's Department, and the El Reno Police Department came out and investigated it. And somebody had the good notion to take the door and not handle it a bunch and pick it up and take it over to the Oklahoma City Zoo. And the director at that time was Lawrence Curtis. And he also, if my memory serves me, he was also a primatologist. So he knew what to deal with when it came to apes of all kinds. And they found massive handprints, bloody, greasy handprints on it. One of the prints he claimed was crooked or deformed or probably damaged and healed up wrong. So if anybody had faked that, why would they put a damaged thumb in there? You know, I mean, in 1970 and around this area, nobody even really had heard of Bigfoot. I mean, not really. Maybe Patterson Gimlin, and then again maybe the Boggy Creek. But right in there, there's nothing there anymore, but right in there, back in that area, and those trees is where that chicken coop was. So that was an excitement for a long time, and a week prior to that, I believe, there was a guy, and he was a retired police officer, and he talks about it. He's done several podcast radio shows and this and that, and he knows more about that story, but according to him, he saw one about 10 miles back to the east, right down this river, and he spotted it while out coon hunting, and it jumped across the river and was running west, running back this way. So that all happened around the same time frame. And so that's kind of, I mean, there's a little more to it than that, but that's our legacy here in El Reno, is we got the Chicken Man, and Scotland's got Nessie, and everybody, and Hanovia's got, you know, the Siege.
Yeah. Awesome.
Where I got that real shaky video was this tree line right over here. With all the eye shine, that's where that came from. This just looks like a really good spot for something to be moving around after dark. Where we've seen deer and armadillo and raccoons. And, so when I set up the night vision and the FLIR, I'm usually scanning this area right through here. One of the gentlemen, we do have permission to go through that hay field and go on down the river. And he's an older gentleman, and we've asked him, have you ever had any problems out here? You ever seen anything? He goes, I've heard noises down there, and I just don't go down there. So, it was kind of surprising. We didn't know how he would react, whether he would just be, you guys are full of it, or what. But he was like, I've heard noises down there, I don't go down there. So, that tells you something.
Yeah.
And that last gate that we came by, Kurt probably told Ryan, that's where the Chicken Man story came from, of the one that was killing chickens and left his bloody handprints all over the cages and that sort of thing. That was like back in the early 70s. That's where the Chicken Man story came from.
To report to a friend of mine, and I had the camera with me just like this, and I was facing west that way, and from behind me I heard a whoop and a cough, like whoop. Somebody's down there fishing or something. So I just turned around, standing on the bridge right about where she is, and started taking some photos of this area. And then later on, I zoomed one in a little bit, and I got what I think is a good picture of one sitting up here in this tree. Then we had been coming down here looking at tree structure and damage and prints, and we came, I guess, when was that? That was last October, right? And this had happened. And we can't figure out what did this. I mean, what would crawl up there and have a good time pulling those up and tearing that up? Something strong. I mean, they bit the heck out of it. And we couldn't find any real marks, like a truck, a big truck could come down here and back into it or anything. Maybe you guys will see something we didn't. But it actually looks like it's been pulled up a little more than it was before. It looks like it's been jerked on a little more since we're looking at it.
Sandbars are pretty bad on that stretch there. We can try it, but anyway, Kurt got to talk to the guy that was out here fixing it, and he gave him a story all about what happened to that box or what the damage that was done.
He told me, he said, I said, have you seen anything strange? That's the first guy I ran into. No, I didn't see anything. I don't, he played, I don't know nothing. And the next guy was out here, and I asked him, and he said that it was drunk teenagers, possibly. And I said, you'll be seeing that for yourself in a minute. The sandburrs are that high and just as thick as this grass here. So be prepared. It's horrible conditions to be barefoot, and we found barefoot tracks around it. And the way that it's bent is something like a primate would do. How they hang and pull off something like you see an orangutan in a zoo doing. That's the kind of damage. That and tearing a whole box off the side. A human couldn't do that. And I mean, and I said that to him. And what am I leaving out?
He told you.
He told me that we know exactly when that station went out. It's all on a microwavable transfer signal antenna, and so we know exactly when that went out at the time and everything else. And according to him, it was cold and
It was like 3:21 in the morning or something like
3:21 in the morning, something like that. Closer to 4.
Strange time for kids to be out.
Yeah.
Barefooted and
it was cold.
And yeah, and sandbars are really bad down there.
Well, that's a new one, huh?
Yeah.
Pulled this locked open and pulled wires out and stuff like that. Bent that over. That's galvanized steel. That's pretty tough stuff for, I don't know how much weight that would take to bend over at its, well, almost its strongest point of that piece right there. Access this from either way. This one's a little steep over here to your left. This one's easy to traverse around the side. And she was picking up aluminum cans. And right when she made the turn on one side of that embankment or the other, there was this thing hunched over, staring at her, and they saw each other, and they both screamed, and they both went the opposite way. And she immediately called the sheriff's department and said there was some kind of hairy wild man down here, and they needed to come out and run him out of here. Well, they came down, and I guess they found some prints, big prints, but that's all that was ever said about it. And that was, I want to say, in the 90s, so it wasn't that long ago.
This on the FLIR, on the thermal, I'm picking up some a really hot white, something that's a vertical object, and it seems to be moving. And then we thought we'd seen two other. It's gone now.
So you did see something.
Yeah.
You said two objects?
Well,
Or three?
Two or three. But they were showing up bright white.
Were they still?
They seemed to be moving through the trees back there. One was really moving when I first saw it. And now, you guys gotta check out Russ's scope here.
Let Jody see it.
What is this?
It's really powerful.
Is this a clear?
It's about 10 times more powerful than
This one's an ATM.
What does that mean?
I forget what it stands for. It's the brand name of it. You need to focus it. There's a focus right here above your eyepiece.
Oh, wow.
Always try to use the same eye because it'll blind that eye after a while.
I always use the same eye.
If you forget and use both of them, then you can't see nothing.
I know.
Right here across from us, is it a house place?
Yeah, well, and there's like a little barn over there. He's got him a mercury light up.
That must be. I'm picking up the heat signature on top of that tree.
There's some couple of head of horses and a donkey or something out here.
Picking up his light.
Where?
Must be his yard light shining through his tree. Get some of those trees.
Still needs to get a little
See a
darker.
bright white dot. Something getting off heat. Oh, well, maybe it's an owl or something. But there's a pretty yard light over
Sorry,
there.
go to the place to see what you see.
You're seeing something underneath the new bridge.
Yeah, it's glowing white hot. It's just a big, I don't know, just a big lump of something from this distance. But it is glowing white hot. Doesn't seem to be moving much though.
Big or medium, small?
Yeah, it does look fairly large. I don't know, I have to have somebody else look at it and see what they think. But
Okay, I'll take a look here in a second. Hey, we think we spotted something on the FLIR just now. So anyway, I was going to do some calls, a couple of calls, and see if we get a response, see if we get whatever that blob was on the FLIR to move. So here we go.
See it.
I'll do one more. I don't know if we get very good echo, but maybe something close by here.
I think this little FLIR only has about a maximum range of about 100 yards. Well, we've had a chance to try out different types of equipment. We've got to hear people's personal experiences. Exchanged a lot of good ideas. And it's just been a chance to see a different environment. Good chance for folks in our group to get to know each other better and put names and faces together. Spend some time together enjoying the outdoors. Turned into a beautiful evening. So we've enjoyed the time together and made some plans for future activities. We do have a bright full moon tonight. A light breeze. It's very humid. We've noticed on the FLIR and night vision no animal activity at all. We're not seeing even small mammals, birds, There's just nothing moving. We're not sure if we attribute that to the bright moonlight or the weather. We did have a very hot and humid day, but we have a nice breeze tonight and it's cooled off really nicely. But we haven't heard coyote howls or anything. There just doesn't seem to be any activity at all. So it's that's been kind of frustrating and perplexing to try to figure out why nothing at all is moving. But that's just part of it.